This is that part of the morning when you haven't got on any birds close and you're like, all right, let me start taking pictures of butterflies and leaves. And there's one bird, he just gobbled, but he's like 5 years that way, and you would need a Millennium Falcon to get to it. There was another one, the first one I heard this morning was freaking forever that way. But there's sign right here where I'm at. And I learned something. Run off if you get sign. There's turkeys in here. Might just be talking in this spot this morning. So you get to that spot where you're just chill out. Just sit down. Wait on that late bird. If you have the time to afford it, you don't have to get, if you can afford the time and you're not like pressed to get to work or something. Sit down. Wait on a late morning to fire up, because I've done it a bunch of times. Gone in, nothing. No gobbling birds, no nothing. 10 o'clock, oh! It's like, hey, it's kind of like humans. Some of them's got them damn banker hours, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, there's a logging road behind me. And there's green stuff all in it. Little grass shoots. Scratching all the way around. I would bet $5 about 9, 10 o'clock. Or before that. But there's going to be one fire up because he flew down in this road. And he's eating. And he's strutting. And he ain't worried about gobbling. They're doing their thing. But anyway, I posted a picture a couple days ago on a page on my Facebook. I'll put it up here in the corner, leave a little spot here. That's a hunt that Dad and I took Dad on, because my dad didn't grow up spring gobbler hunting. He hunted them in the fall, but he's a deer hunter. But he wouldn't spring gobbler hunt them anyway. I have gotten him out a few times. This particular hunt ended, but it had started actually the year before. This was like 2007. 2007. Yeah. 2007. Anyway, I had one of my good spots back at home place near in Allegheny County, and went in this morning. It was the first day. Had my 835. No, I had my 935 Mossberg shooting a comp and choke. That was my setup, and I shot Winchester XX Magnum 3.5 inch number 5 copper plated. I think a lot of us from that generation, and the guys that are watching this, know that was a popular shell for many years. Killed many turkeys, and it is still kill turkeys today. But went in that morning, got up on this logging road, coming around the logging road. Bird gobbled. Had hens with him. Had hens below him. But he was already in this little flat, little strut zone. and he was working his way up, kind of benching. It had little benches in it coming up the ridge to where the log landing was. So I go around and sit, and I hear him. He's not 125 yards. And he's gobbling, and I still have yet to do any calling. So I get, the road's coming up to another logging road, and road's coming up to another logging road, and sorry for the delay, I just heard him gobble again. I get out and sit. I get set up and everything, calling, and it ain't 2 minutes, and there's a big log below me. I look down, it's 50 yards. It's 50 yards. And old growth timber, doesn't feel. This sucker's probably 3 foot around, 3-4 foot tall. Been laying there for years. And get a mouth call out, get a slate. At the time it was a old yellow slate tech, if you guys remember that. Put a mouth call in, purred on that slate tech, little yelp on that mouth call. Answer me. And he was just like his natural travel. But he was coming on up, and I hear pow, 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 hens blowing. And 5 minutes later, he's a little bit closer. And I said, well, shoot, he's coming, Well, these hens, I hear them coming, and they're coming on around, and they're a little bit below me over the ridge. And they come on around, and they're coming up to the log landing, but they're over in the kind of like the hollow part. And I watch this log, and about that time, I see the tail fan sticking up on the other side of the log. He was turn back forward. All you can see is about this much the top of the tail fan. I said, all right. And I was sitting there. He hammered a few more times. I was like, come on, Big Daddy, stick your head up, come on around there, follow your hens. But them hens went on. And I was like, and I had quit calling because I'm thinking, let him follow his natural hens. You don't need to do a bunch of crap. And it was like, that bird, just that behind, I don't know if it's because he felt safe behind that thing or what, but that log was like his buddy. Well, I watched that tail fan. It struck the end of that log come across. End of that log there was a fork, literally like this, where the top of the tree, the main trunk had split, and that fork was like this. And my gun shot a pretty good pattern. It was a 50-yard gun, And that gobbler walked into that log back and forth. This went on. It seemed like forever, but it's probably 7-8 minutes. You actually start getting a cramp in your leg, and you're holding your gun. You're like, come on now. He walks over in that fork in that tree like that, and that gobbler, he's like, sticks his head where you can see between them forks. And I had a 6-inch opening. And I was like, all right, a little bit more. And he walks on out, and it's like that. And he's peered again. I got his head, neck, now, and part of his breast. That's the only thing that's sticking through this fork. Wham! I cut down on him. At the time, it was like, boom, flop, flop. That's all you heard. And by that time, I seen him. The wings was out, coasting down the ridge. Long walk out. You know what I'm saying? And it's happened to everybody. Happened to my boy yesterday. Let's see, what's today? Monday. Happened to my boy Saturday. So, skip forward a year. Go in, speed it up a little bit. Go in the same logging road. Come around. I told Dad's with me. That morning we had stopped. We'd had breakfast and coffee, or we had picked up breakfast and a coffee. And we were going around this logging road, and I told Dad, I said, you guys at turkey hunt, when you're on a certain place, you've got your little listening spots where you can cover left, right. You can hear over here good, hear over here good. So I told Dad, I said, we're going to go around here, we're going to stand here till daylight, see what happens. We're going around there, and we get to my listening spot, and I literally had stood there 30 seconds. And, he hammered. I said, there, same ridge. Now, at the time, it's just a good turkey hunting spot. Same ridge, same scenario as the year before. This is the first day also of turkey season. And he had hammered this, I don't know, it was probably 6:15, 6 o'clock. And Dad's like, I told him, I said, all right, Dad, we got to go, let's get on out there. We got a couple hundred yards to go back in this hollow on this logging road and come out to this next ridge where that road kind of feeds down there to him. Because it is like between the ridge we're on, the ridge he's on, it's like this. So you get on the ridges, that's how you run it in these parts. And he said, I got to use the bathroom. Dad said, I got to use the bathroom. You go on? I said, well, Dad, if I get over here, I said, if I'm at this one spot, I said, that the bird is still hammering. Or if I'm not at this one spot, that the bird's still hammering. And I didn't went down and try to get set up on him. I said, if you come around to that neck in the curve in the hollow, and I'm not there, just hang tight. I go on around, come around the ridge, don't make any calls. I covered all this distance, go around, come down. Literally, I'm coming down, get right near the tree and everything where I'm set up the year before. And there's that same freaking log down there, right? Well, I'm sitting there, and bird's hammering. He's done probably gobbled 10, 12 times. And since I'd heard him first, And I hadn't made any calls. And about that time, it's yap, 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 yap. I hear hens coming up that ridge. I said, golly, Neds. But this time, they're not over on the side in the hollow. They're like up there with me where the bulldozer had pushed the old cut road off, the skid road. And they're walking right up to me. I'm thinking, what the frick am I, the gobbler's still on down there, 150 yards. And I'm thinking, what in the world? If I said here, y'all know what's going to happen. The birds are going to come up. And the gobbler's going to hang up, and it's going to be the end of your day, or at least that morning. I said, I literally get up, run over the ridge 50 yards, lay in the brush in the leaves. And these damn hens come past me, just I'll let them walk on, right? And they get on up the road there, and the bird's still down there. I guess after he flew out of the tree, he's going to do his thing. That was his mistake. They're up above me. The gobbler's down there. I literally stand up, march back over, sit back down where I was at. Now I'm between him and his hens. So, this year, the following year, I had gone to an 870 Super Magnum, shooting Nitro Company 3.5-inch straight sevens, H510 13C. I believe that was the number then. I don't know. They was H517s, heavy load, and it was just normal tungsten. It wasn't the TSS. It was like the 11 or 12 gram tungsten shell, but stomp. But anyway, whole different setup versus Winchester double X5s and shooting the Nitro Companies through a Rhino 660. I mean, you gain a good 10 yards on your gun, which on this shot I didn't need it, but I mean the pattern, y'all guys know. I don't have to go through the whole rigmarole of it. between that and then those shells now, then, and what TSS will do now. And I'm, but anyway, here comes the bird. I can see him down there about 100 yards. But boy, he's taking his sweet time. And I just purr a little bit on a slate call. Just purr. Oh, oh. Of course, by then, he comes up another 10, 15 yards, and I hear tail fan, and I watch this his whole way. I was like, daggone, the same way it happened last year, He gets up through there, and he's coming, so I'm just like, well, come on. And I don't like letting them get 15 yards, you know what I'm saying, because you'll miss, especially nowadays. You let them get too close, it's just as like shooting them with a rifle. Me personally, I like a good 25-yard shot. Your patterns out there, 12 inches, 30, about 12-inch circle, so you still got some air room. He comes right around the side. It was the way the road was. There was a deadfall the tree had fell. He struts right around there, so I get to watch him. He struts, he's doing his thing, right? Well, once he walks around through there, and I'm up against this tree, so I was kind of expecting him to come up the side of the ridge. So the way I was set up, I was more exposed on that side. Well, I've already got the gun up on my shoulder, all but the safety off. Gun's on my knee, right? And I just hadn't hunkered down. I had a burst red dot scope on it. Hadn't hunkered down yet. So the bird, when he come around through there, like I said, I'm more exposed into the road. And I'm enjoying the show, knowing that now it's got to go really, really south for me not to get him. After what happened last year, it's like, redemption. Sweet redemption. Bird comes around, he gets up. Like I said, I'm all but ready just to click. He stretches that head up. He's a big old bird too. Nice gobbler, nice mature gobbler. He had 1 3/8 spurs on him, which for the mountains, that's a good size. And he sees me. Stretches that head up, goes to turn. He literally goes to turn. He's gonna make his, and goes to turn. I dumped him right in the back of the head. And he nosedived like if a 747 loses that front landing gear, like that. Go down there, I get him, take him on around, talk to Dad and everything, told him about it, of course we get that picture that I showed on the video. Get back to the house, and working that bird up, and I was like, what in the world? Because I shot this bird in the back of the head. Nitro Company 7s, which anybody knows that, it's a mix. You'll have, it was some little, at the time, it's kind of a little bit finer, a little bit bigger. It's just how the shot sings when they make it. They don't make the pellets, but it's how when the pellets are formed. But anyway, it's kind of like Magnum Blend. If you look in the Magnum Blend mix, it's a mix of different sizes. Nasty, kills a bird, that's all that matters. So I'm gutting the breast open. What in the world? Scarred up breast and these dark spots in the breast, right below the wattles. I pick out 4 or 5 copper plated number 5s. The pellet, the same bird that I had shot the year before, that was him. That's a tough old geezer right there now. Caught the edge of his breast, below the wattle, kind of like near the round where the beer. Gosh, I kept them pellets in a little medicine bottle for years, and a couple times moving. I've since lost them, but man, that was. My dad told me, he said, I listened to that whole thing. He was just around the side of the road. I was like, I wish you'd come, wish you could have come with me, Dad, but that sausage, biscuit, and coffee hit him hard. That's the story. I just told her to save it. Someday somebody else, my kids and friends' kid, whatever, they can watch this YouTube video. Now they know the story where that picture, about that picture. I'm going back to turkey hunting. Y'all have a good one.